This second set of problems has you looking at two different equations, figuring out which one is accurate or which ones you would prefer to use in order to solve for the missing angle measures, which in this case are x and w. So let's take a look at Elena's first. So Elena is saying that x, this angle, is equal to 35 degrees. Okay, cool. That's all well and good. We have a small problem though, because we are given that that angle is already 35 degrees. Now, it's not that two angles can't have the same measure. It's that two angles cannot have the same measure if they are clearly different sizes. So, hopefully you can see that the angle that is labeled 35 is much, much smaller than x. So x cannot equal 35. So Elena's equation is not the one we will be using. So by process of elimination, we are left with Diego's equation. But let's go ahead and make sure, just to be positive. So Diego is saying that x plus the 35 is equal to 180 degrees. So he is saying that x and 35 are supplementary, which means that also not only do they equal 180 degrees when you add them together, but when you push them together, they actually make a straight angle or a straight line. So, and indeed, when you do put them together, 35 and x make a straight line. So let's go ahead and use Diego's equation to solve for the value of x. So we have x plus 35 is equal to 180. Now this is what we call a one-step equation because we can do one algebraic operation, one addition or one subtraction or one multiplication or one division to find our answer. There is only one thing we have to do, one step we have to take. That is why it is a one-step equation. So in one-step equations, or in any equations for that matter, we want to isolate the variable. That means in this case, we want to get the x all by itself. So in order to do that, I need to get rid of this plus 35 or this positive 35. So in order to do that, I am going to subtract 35 from both sides, which effectively cancels this term out or eliminates it, leaving us with x on the left-hand side and 145 on the right-hand side. So, using that, we have solved that x equals 145 degrees. All right, so don't click away yet. We're not done. We have another variable we have to solve for. So, the one that we still have to solve for is this w right here. So just as with solving for x, I am going to first write a one-step equation to solve this, and then I'm going to show you a second way to solve it, although some of you might already see it right now. But anyways, let's do the one-step equation first. So upon looking at this, I can tell that like x and 35, when you add x and w together, you also get a straight line. So that means that x plus w equals a straight angle, which means they equal 180 degrees, which means they're supplementary. So I actually already know the value for x because I just solved for it a minute ago. So I'm going to plug that into my equation. So my x is 145. And I still have my plus w equals 180. So this is, again, a one-step equation. So in order to isolate the w, I need to get rid of this 145. Since there's no sign out front, I can assume it's a positive 145. In order to get rid of a positive 145, I have to introduce a negative 145, or I have to subtract 145 from each side of my equation. So that effectively cancels that term out, because if you add 145 and then subtract 145, you get back to your original answer, leaving me with W equal to 35 degrees. So my final answers for this problem are X is equal to 145 and W is equal to 35. Now, there was a second way to solve this, and it might be a little hard to see with all my colors now, so I'm actually going to redraw it. So, pardon my terrible lines. So that's 35, that is W, that is X. Okay, so another way you could have solved this rather quickly instead of doing the one-step equation is looking at this and noticing that, 35 and W are vertical angles. That means this angle and this angle are identical. So that means W has to be equal to 35. Voila. So be paying attention for those vertical angles in all these problems because they might prove to be a shortcut for you.